Hello, everybody, in comic book land. This is your boy coming at you with another video. And this video is the story of my life of how I became a comic book fan. All right. Everybody have their own specific way of how they became a fan of comics. Mine is probably no different than many. So here it is. When I was young, probably I said about a good 6, maybe 7 years old, my mom bought me my first comic book, and I can't remember the name of it for the money in the world. But it used to be a bunch of stores here in Memphis, Tennessee, which is where I'm currently at. This store was called the Bargain Center. Matter of fact, Bargain Center is the first dollar store that was out before Dollar General and Family Dollar. Those stores wouldn't be around if not for the Bargain Center. But anyway, the Bargain Center had this rack of comics, and I always have been a big fan of comic books and comics in general because my first exposure to comics, actually, or should I say cartoons, right at a younger age of 3 or 4, because my uncle used to watch those Bugs Bunny cartoons. He was a big fan of the Fantastic Four cartoon, the Spider-Man cartoons. And these were cartoons that came out in the 60s. And so I had the chance to watch them when I was 3, 4, 5 years old, somewhere along up in there. But I never knew at the time what I was looking at. But as I got older, I started to notice that comic books were being made. But I didn't know comic books existed back in the 30s and 40s and 50s, back in the golden age era of comics. So my exposure to comics, like I said, was early, and it started on TV at first, not as a book, but on TV. So my mom bought my first comic book, and like I said, the name I can't figure it out for the money in the world. But sometimes when you get your first comic book, you get so ecstatic to a point where you know that the books that you look at, comic-wise, you don't know what you're looking at. Only thing you do that you fantasize about the color of the art, the characters, you name it. That kind of caught your eye right away. So that comic book, that didn't even last 6 months because I got through opening up the comic book so many times. You know how when you get a new comic book, they when once you open them so wide to a point where the spine, you start to develop spine creases and damage to the book as you go. Well, this book wound up being damaged as I long I had the book. Like I said, I looked at it on several occasions, but but that never actually kept it in condition because at the time I didn't know what the heck I was. I didn't know what the heck I was doing. But comic book collecting been around for ages, way before I came to be. You know what I'm saying? But that book was my first book. Like I said, that book got older, it got tore up, and I think my mom threw that book away. You know what I'm saying? Because once the book gets older, they get spine creases, and sometimes they tear at the ends of the books, or sometimes the cover gets detached from the book itself. So those are experiences of wear and tear of a book that's brand new when you had it at the time. But as you got older, it became raggedy, mangled. That book was mangled for a while, and so like I said, I think my mom threw that book away. But at the time, I'm still looking at comic books, and my comic book. Sorry, looking at comic book characters on TV. Amazing Spider-Man, the Fantastic Four, the Incredible Hulk, Thunder the Barbarian, what else? He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. I can go on with characters on TV that I found out later in time that these characters came from comic books. So as I got older, my first comic book that I actually bought myself was Miss Marvel #1. That seems so long ago. And I bought Miss Marvel back in 1984, I believe. I think that's when I bought Miss Marvel. They bought Miss Marvel in 1981. Then, I'm sorry, not 81. Miss Marvel #1 1984. And then the second book that I bought was Nova #1. Now these were now need I remind you, Miss Marvel, that was her first series, but Miss Marvel appeared in another book before her regular series. Nova appeared in his own series. I mean, the first issue is the origin itself, and I think Miss Marvel's first issue is also an origin, I believe. I think it does. I think it is origin. There's a power packed origin. If I'm not correct, I think Nova and Miss Marvel both were origin issues, I believe. But those my first two comic books that I bought back to back. Then I started getting more and more into comics. So I started going to convenience stores, which are now known as corner groceries, corner grocery stores. Comic book rack there. I started seeing different variety of DC, different variety of Marvel, and so I started seeing the Marvel universes. Now, Marvel universes are the deluxe series, but let me give you a background story on that. I'm not a big fan of the Marvel universe, the index cards type books. I'm not a big fan though because they are wrapped up in plastic, but they got 3 holes in them. I don't like those. I'm really not a big fan of those. But like I said, when I started buying the deluxe series, which came out, I think 84, 85. This was 85. I think 85 was the third installment. The second installment came out in 84. Now the 84 ones is the one with the large letters on the covers. Those I never got a chance to get those, but I got a chance to get the Marvel Universe Deluxe issues. Those are the thick books with the characters on the covers of them, and whereas the second installment. So as I got older, I started buying those at the newsstand prices, and from there my comic book collection started to grow. Just that I didn't have that many at the time like what I have now, and I kept buying comics, and I've always had wondered, would I be able to collect my first series? What I mean by that is, Amazing Spider-Man had 2 or 3 different series that I couldn't collect because I was so far behind on them that I couldn't collect them. But I did see certain issues of ASM that I did buy. I just never bought the series. So my first series I actually started to buy was probably the New Warriors, which came out in 1990. That was my first series that I bought, and I was buying New Warriors every new issues came out every month. So I was buying New Warriors. Then I started buying, if you guys remember, Malibu comics, which was bought out by Marvel Comics later on in the years. Malibu had this series called The Strangers. I was a big advocate of The Strangers. I think that's when I started noticing that. I think that's when I started getting my experience in indie books. Because that was my first indie book right there. Was actually was the Ultraverse, should I say Malibu Ultraverse. That was my first experience with indie books. So The Strangers is an indie series. That was my second series I was buying. So as I got older into it, I started buying Lady Deaths. Started buying let me see, Spawn. Let me see. Let's see what other series that I was collecting. What is it? Icon and Static. I'm gonna talk about Static later on in this series. But anyway, as I started buying comics, I started getting used to buying comics by series and start buying them as they go. You know what I'm saying? But every now and then from ASM or other books that I would see on the newsstands, I would purchase them because it caught my interest. See, back then, but see, I'm also an artist, but I'm not a painter artist. I'm a penciler artist. I can draw using pencils, color pencils, or just pencils or ink. I'm very good at drawing using that. You know what I'm saying? But not as a painter. I mean, I can paint, but I'm not that great at painting. I'm more of a penciler with the colors, the ink, and the pencil, the color, the color pencil, the pencils or the ink. I'm very good at using those. Anyway, as I continued to buy comics, my collection started powering up. Started powering up. I mean, I was buying series. You know what I'm saying? And so, um, and down the line, I started discovering other series like Static, Icon, and Battle Chasers. Now, Static, I didn't realize Static would be that popular later on down the road. Um, I got Static #1 newsstand all the way up to about 30, I believe, and I stopped collecting Static and Icon because when the 2000s came, which I'm gonna get to later on in this series, so I started buying different variety ones. Icon, I think I may have Icon collected series. I think I'm up to about 25 or 30 books of Icon, I believe, and I stopped collecting Icon. Then I got on a few issues of some of the other milestone characters, but not like I got Static or Icon. And Milestone at the time was a new DC label that's under DC, which is now which I believe is no longer optional under DC now, because DC don't gotten so far in the comic book game. They're unstoppable right now. But anyway, along that line, Barrel Chasing came. So Barrel Chaser. Now I tried to get now Barrel Chaser first series was I think it was 9 or 10 books, I believe. 9, 10, 11. I think it was 12. I think Barrel Chaser was a 12-book series, I believe. So I tried to get the Barrel Chaser's Chromium cover and the original cover. See, the thing is, if you guys remember back then, they would have these thick books or these thick catalog books that letting you know what books are coming out that month or months ahead. I usually get those books as well. And when I seen Barrel Chasers in there, it had the foil cover, it had the regular cover #1, and the foil cover was a tad little bit more expensive than the regular cover. So when I got off work one day, I tried to go to my nearest comic book store quick as I can possible because they closed at 6 o'clock. So I got off at 3. Um, when I got out there, I was hoping that they would have a spare foil cover of Barrel Chaser, but they didn't. They ran out on it. I think at the time the Barrel Chaser foil cover was like, I think 15 or 20 copies um per comic book store. So I'm thinking no more than 35, 40, or 50,000 copies of that made at the time. So you're gonna imagine how many comic book companies, how many comic book stores in every city around the country getting 10, 15, or 20 of those books. So anyway, they ran out of that book, but they had a whole stack of the Barrel Chaser #1, the regular cover. So I got the regular cover. You know what I'm saying? And so I was collecting them along the way. And like I said, I started collecting Barrel Chaser around about now 10 copies, I believe. And so and they all fit in excellent condition. I had to recently 3 years ago had to get Barrel Chaser foil. I got it offline, and I'm talking not offline. I got it off eBay. That book cost me $1.99. The foil copy, $1.99. But I had no choice but to get it because other people had it graded. At the time, it was at the time Barrel Chaser foil covers were, if you got the foil raw, you were paying between $150 to $200. So the book was still expensive. The foil copies were, but if you got it graded, you were paying $300 or $400 for a graded copy, depending on the grade, 9, 6, 7, or 8. I seen a lot of 9, 6, 9, 7, 9, 8s of the Barrel Chaser foil cover. So I didn't want to get the foil cover and grade. I just wanted to get it raw. So I got it raw, and I paid about $200 for that raw Barrel Chaser foil cover. Down the line, buying more books, buying more books. But I got burnt out of buying comics probably around 02, 03. I stopped buying comics. You know what I'm saying? And so I missed out on a whole lot. As a matter of fact, one lady, her name is Carissa, and she is a comic book fanatic. Matter of fact, she's an ASM Spider-Man collection. So when I became friends with her on Facebook in 2018, I asked her, what was that casing that's around the bush? She said it's called slab. I said slab. She said yeah. She said that she told me that that's a grading system that's out now, where the comic books are now being graded based on conditions. So I'm like, wow. So that got my adrenaline rushing, and I started to get more back interest into buying comic books. So now, I started doing my research on CGC and the other one. I think it's CHS. I think that's what it's called. The other grading. So now that's a new grading system out now. But I'm talking about the original one that I remember seeing. One was CHS. I think that's what it was. The other one is CGC. So I started doing my research on comic books. So I started figuring out what was going on and what did I miss from 2003 to 2018. So that's a lot of years of missing comic books. I mean, I missed a lot of titles at that time. So now I'm catching up to some of these titles, and so I come to realize that the static series, the number 30 and higher, come to find that they were low print runs. And I didn't even know that. That's why a lot of these static books now are 35, 40, 50 bucks a pop or more, depending on how you go. And I just reasoned about 2018 or 19, I purchased static number 45. Now, which is the last issue of the static series. That book cost me $200, and it was a pre-owned book. But the pre-owned book, it was in great condition. Nothing wrong with no ticks on the book, no cracks on the corners. I mean, no dog ears, no cracks, no nothing on that book. But it was a pre-owned book, and the dude charged me $200 for that book. I think like $210, $215, with all including shipping, handling, all that. I mean, that book was expensive. So that's how I knew then the rest of the static books after being before 45 on down was gonna be that price. So I managed to get a few of those static books. Now I'm sure about 6-7 more books to finish the series. Now as far as Icon, I don't think I'm gonna collect Icon. I think I'm let Icon stay where it's at. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, it took me a long time to catch up to what I was missing. Now I got see all them bosses right there, those bosses. Those bosses got comic books in them, and those are comic books recently that I bought from 2022 when I moved here, 22 to now. All those books right there is there, all those books. So I got a grand total probably about between 5,000 to probably 10,000 comic books. I got some more in storage. And when I finally get them all together, I gotta do some organization to get all the titles that belong to one, put them all together. You know what I'm saying? Because I got a lot of organizing of books I got to do. I hope I get them organized before I turn 60 years old. Because around that time I start slowing down on buying comics at that time. But I'm probably gonna start slowing down now. You know what I'm saying? But overall, I mean, I missed so many books, so many titles, some second prints, some Superman 500, Superman 75. I done missed a lot of those second prints. So some of them books got some of the covers. Some of them covers had foils on them. I mean, foils started getting popular as the years went on. I want to say the first foil copy that might have earned a lot of attraction with probably Battle Chasers. I think Battle Chasers #1 foil laid the foundation for other foil books. Now I could be wrong about that. It might have been some other foil books before that, before I can remember. I think now embossed covers covers been around for a while. But like I said, there's some foil on there. There's some laid depth foils, I believe. but those foils don't lay there foils wasn't popping. But they're good and they're great. But I think Battle Chasers #1 foil kind of laid down a little bit more to where they're now. You're seeing a lot of these comic book companies now making these limited edition foil covers. Even hollow foil has now become popular. So you look at all the possibilities of what is now the class of comic books and for as cover prices and how you get them in. Like for example, Absolute Batman. I never in all my wild I never thought the Absolute Batman would be as big as it is. #1, they then got about 3 or 4 or 5 different prints and covers of those of them Batman, them Absolute Batman comics, and they all the prices. People buy them like that. You know what I'm saying? So I missed out on Absolute Batman, but I did. And there's nothing I can do about it. I'm not even gonna go back and backtrack because I think it's 17, 18 books now that's out for Absolute Batman. So I'm not gonna catch up. Forget all that. You know what I'm saying? So I just missed out. I mean, I saw it. I just missed out. But anyway, that is my story of how I became a comic book fan. How I missed out on so many of them. How I stopped collecting them at the time. Like I said, I got burnt out between 22, 23. I got burnt out. Like I said, I actually got into a relationship. So I was focusing so hard on my relationship and the other comic books. So I put comic books on the back burner and focus on my relationship. So that's one of the reasons why I started collecting comic books also. It ain't just because I got burnt out. It's also because I had a relationship that I was into. So, and I'm talking about a female relationship. So, and that when I was a little younger, in my early 30s at the time. So now I'm 54 years old, probably 55 years old. So that should let you know how old I am when I started and how old I am now. And how many years I've been collecting comic books. We talk over 40 years, or close to 40 years of comic book collecting. And I'm 54 years old. So that gives you some idea how old I was when I was young buying books, or how young I was when I discovered comic books. But man, like I said, that's my story, that's my background. Everybody got their own story, like I said at the beginning of this video, but that's mine. I'm sorry it's lengthy as it is, because I'm over 20-some minutes in this video, but I just feel that I need to put it out there so you guys know, because I just recently seen someone on TikTok a couple days ago, and he was explaining his origin of how he became a comic book fan. So that inspired me to put this video out. So anyway, to the people out there who discovered me when I discovered my TikTok page, I can't forget V-Man. V-Man, man, you're the first person who got in contact with me. I thank you very much, brother. You are a sick Batman and Superman fan. I got a brother that's a Superman fan too. So y'all probably in the same category as that. And then there are a lot of other comic book fans out there. I mean, comic book people out there who part of the community who had a chance to see who I am. Some of y'all guys sent me some follow requests. I followed y'all. You know what I'm saying? And I thank you all for liking my comic books. My comic book selections, or should I say posts that I posted, the videos, all that. Thank you for liking them, you know what I'm saying, because it let me know that my collection is pretty good. That let me know right there. Like I said, also, if you see my IG page, go there, and you will see the same thing that you've seen on my TikTok page. So, thank you very much. Once again, the V-Man, man, thank you very much for being the first person to get in contact with me after I dropped my first few comic book selections. Thank you very much. Now my page is a little bit bigger than what it is now. I'm still adding to it. So when I continue to add more to it, I hope you guys continue to like it and comment. Hope you do. And like I said, this is Comic God the DJ, or my Instagram page, DJ Comic or Comic God, DJ Comic God, however you want to put it. I'm out of here, family. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. That's my story, my origin, how I became a comic book fan. And thanks to the people who reached out to me. You know who you are, because so many of y'all the name now. So it was 200 or 300 y'all out there now. So thank you very much. Bye-bye.